Now here we are in the Shinra Combat Simulator doing the 3-person team versus top secrets. You can only do this on hard, and I suggest you use Cloud, Barret, and Aerith. That way you have 2 ranged attackers and 1 melee attacker in your party. Now this battle is 5 fights. The first one is against Shiva's ice cold ass. Now this bitter blue bitch has but one reason to be the first fight in this series, and that is to get you to use up as much fucking MP as she can get you to fucking use. That being said, she only got 2 real weaknesses, and that's time and fire. Okay, now even though she is weak against slow and stop, most of her moves also have fucking slow or stop attached to them, as Barret demonstrates as if on cue.
One more shot.
Now, like most bosses in this game, she tends to target the person you're playing with at that moment. So you can exploit this and use it to your advantage by starting with a person like Barret, who has a high defense and most likely more HP than your other characters. Get her to target him and then quickly switch to somebody else, and then just dig into bitch's ass. Dig in it like it was a motherfucking bowl of cherry jello.
I'll show you what I can do. This one's for you.
Now, most of Shiva's moves
Show me what you can do.
don't do a lot of damage. Some of them only do real moderate damage. I mean, even her ultimate only does 3,000 or 4,000 damage. So none of her moves are suddenly just gonna wipe out your fucking crew. You know, so you don't have to worry about that. As long as you keep a mindful eye on your HP and you heal fairly often, you should be fine. But you don't want to just, you know, use your MP. You want to try to be cautious with it. Now, defensively, she's got a moderate defense, but it's nothing insane. And she doesn't really have much of a defense against stagger either. That being said, you're going to want to use Cloud's triple strike, his focus thrust, Barret's maximum fury or focus shot, and Aerith doesn't really have ATB abilities that increase stagger, but if you cast Fleeting Familiar twice and then just use your basic attack and your Tempest attack, you should do more than enough. Now, when you do eventually stagger Shiva, you're going to want to have at least one of your party members have an ATB action ready. And you want to use that action to cast Stop on this bitch the very second you stagger her. Because not only do you stop her physically, but once she's staggered and you stop her, the stagger bar stops too. So then while she's staggered and her defense is relatively non-existent, you have more than twice as much time to just dig in this bitch's ass. You know, fuck it, go spelunking while you're there. Get a pickaxe and a motherfucking flashlight helmet and just dive in. Much like my party is doing right now. Again, as if on cue.
It's your turn now.
Leave it to me.
And quite literally, look at that. A double axe handle swing right into her left ass cheek. He is literally digging in butt right now. Tell me that's not fucking awesome. I mean, he is shooting her in the face. It looks like she's having a full-on seizure while Cloud is just stabbing her in the ass. She's getting filled out like an application. Alright, now notice, once she gets staggered, that's about the time that your summon gauge is going to fill up. And obviously, for her, you want to cast just one summon. And that's Ifrit, because he's fucking fire. Now, whether you actually use ATB abilities for Ifrit, he will constantly cast fire spells and just punch her in the goddamn mouth. So, if you just want to use him as a backup support, you can. But she'll go a lot quicker if you use the ATB gauges or the Crimson Dive and the Radiant Float.
Tagging out. I got this. I'll take care of you.
Now, notice, I'm using Prey with Aerith to heal, not her MP. Even though she could just magnify her Kiraga and fucking heal everybody. I do tend to cast Regen on everybody, but that only costs 6 MP, so you don't have to worry about it. Now notice, this is her ultimate. She's hitting everybody with it. And between 3,000 or 4,000 damage, so you don't really have much to worry about as far as her ultimate's concerned. Now, just so you know, with that amount of HP that she has left, any level 2 limit break that's offensive will kill her. Which is what's about to happen right now.
Is that it?
Now this is the second fight against Fat Chocobo, and Fat Chocobo is, well, he's fucking enormous is what he is. He is obviously not light on his feet at all. He's not even really mobile. He's enormous. That being said, he has a metric ass ton of fucking defense and HP that you're gonna have to chop through. And he's only really got 3 offensive moves, one of which is where his little Moogle buddies there chuck beach balls, and that spawns ads. Now, realistically, there's only 2 ads, souped up Balam and a souped up Tonberry. The souped up Tonberry still does have instant death attacks, so be aware of that. Other than that, though, there ain't much. The second attack is where he decides to topple over and then roll and bounce over top of you. If he hits one party member with all of those, yes, he can kill them. The odds of that happening are pretty slim because the move is pretty goddamn erratic, really. Now, as you can see, he really doesn't do anything else. He just fucking sits there. And you just chomp away at him. So use this battle to regain as much of your resources as you can.
Sorry, but I gotta.
Watch this.
Now, unlike Shiva, none of the other boss fights you're going to have here are going to be weak against slow and stop. Actually, they're all completely immune to it, so that trick only works on her. Also, this is the only fight that you can find the CACTUAR enemy that's in the intel list. You might not have seen it happen, but odds are he spawned during the battle. When those little Moogles that are immune to attack throw the purple beach balls and it spawns the ads, one of those ads, besides Blabom and Tonberry, is CACTUAR. The problem with this is, the minute CACTUAR spawns, he fucking chicken shits out and bolts for the fucking edge of the screen. Okay? So the very second that you see these Moogles either say, fingers crossed, or see a purple beach ball, you need to start trying to assess and bring up that little target list in your menu. And the second you see CACTUAR in it, target that motherfucker and assess him as fast as you can. If you're lucky, you'll assess him and you'll have that battle intel. If you don't, just rinse and repeat, and hopefully you'll get it. Now, occasionally, Fat Chocobo will actually cause a positive summon to spawn, as you see here. That's Carbuncle, who is an acquirable summon. You can get him. Now, Carbuncle only causes positive effects. He's got 3 moves, and all of them are positive. He doesn't do attack damage at all. So if you see that little guy pop, don't be worried. Thank him and promptly deep fry that 30-piece bucket of extra crispies you see in front of you.
Try this.
Now this is the third fight against Leviathan. He's one of your summons, so you should know that his weakness is thunder, obviously. Now,
Keep it together.
this fight is another reason why I said you should have Barret and Aerith in your party for the ranged attacks. Cloud is going to have to attack the dorsal fin here, because going after his weak spot physically, which is his head, is just too time draining and a pain in the ass for you to do with Cloud. But with Aerith and Barret, you can just freely target his head and fucking hit it from afar. Now, again, I would suggest with Aerith, you set up a couple of fleeting familiars before you start using your square and triangle tempest attacks to build stagger. And again, with Barret, you can just use maximum fury or focus shot on the head to build the stagger for him. Now, unlike the last two fights, Leviathan's attacks can be fucking seriously damaging. Also, all of his attacks are either multi-target or area of effect, so you're not going to have to just keep an eye on one health gauge. You're really going to have to pay attention to your HP. Now, the positive in this battle is the fact that Leviathan does not have a good defense or amount of HP, so it probably won't take long for you to chop this fucking lanky motherfucker down. But as you can see, his attacks, you know, they do a fair amount of damage, moderate to heavy, so you're gonna have to keep an eye on all the characters' HP and be very vigilant about keeping it fairly high.
Take the lead.
Now, when you see the tidal wave coming, just do as much damage to him as you can, because this is going off and it's gonna suck. That's just how that is. See, I did like 5,000 damage minimum to all your fucking party members, so don't think that this fucker is gonna be a pushover. Now, as far as his weakness being thunder, casting Thundaga on him, because it takes a fair amount of time to actually cast it, is really a pain in the ass. You're only going to be able to hit him with it at a couple of moments, because he's either going to fail, fly, or smack you the fuck out of it. See?
It's on you.
Straight fails. I think he does this a couple of times. Also, you're gonna really need to have at least one ranged attacker in your party just for this fight alone.
Here goes.
Because Leviathan can fly. As much as he's a water serpent, this motherfucker will just take to the sky, and you will not be able to hit him with anything other than ranged attacks or magic. And the magic is gonna be such a pain in the ass to hit with. It just isn't going to be worth it. Not to mention, you want to conserve your MP, because it doesn't regenerate for shit. I mean, granted, at the end of each round, you get 50% of your HP and MP back, but if you've used it all, 50% is not going to be enough to carry you.
Deal with that.
Yes, it's my turn. Bring it to heat. Bring it home.
So it's my turn?
Let's do
Now, while he's pressured, try to use as many stagger-building ATB actions as you can. Because once Leviathan is staggered, you can pretty much drain most of the HP out of him just by beating the living fuck out of him. Again, slow and stop are going to have no effect on him, so there's no point even trying. But hasting your party members will help you out a great deal against this motherfucker.
You can do it.
Also, like I said, because his attacks are multi-target or area of effect, he doesn't target the person who's attacking him like most bosses in this game do. He's just trying to fucking kill all of you at the same time.
Check out the bring it home.
I'll take care of them.
So the switch back and forth method
This one's for you.
between a defensive and offensive character will not work on Leviathan. You're really just gonna have to go balls to the wall and try to mash that lanky son of a bitch down. when you're not getting hit with a whole boatload of fucking multi-character attacks.
Won't last long. Let's switch it up.
Alright, watch and learn.
I will say, trying to maintain the target lock between his head and his body, between two ranged attackers and one melee attacker, can get to be fucking annoying. Just try not to do it too fast. Be patient, have a good tempo about your switching, and it shouldn't be that big a
Don't
deal.
stop now.
Let's kick it up a notch.
Now notice how much damage Ascension actually did. It was almost half the life bar. Now this next to last battle is against the motherfucking Dragon King Bahamut. Now you're going to be a higher level and have better equipment than you did the first time you fought him when you were acquiring him as a summon. But he is buffed as far as his offensive attacks go to account for that, so you might want to not be too fucking cocky about it. And most of his physical attacks are only moderately damaging, but they're all multi-hit attacks, so he can drop one of your characters if you're not paying attention. Now his real annoying attack is this one right here, where he yokes your goddamn party members up. It does a fair amount of damage if you let it finish, but if you catch him with a fucking like triple strike or maximum fury, any good ATB action, he'll drop him before he gets to fucking do the damage. Try to make sure you fucking get him to put your fucking party members down. Now while he's doing this countdown, there's a good chance to fuck him up real quick, add some stagger and take off some HP. Try to get out of there before he casts that aura though, because that aura is consistently damaging, and the closer you get to the center, the more damage it causes. And that damage can build up real fucking quick. So I would suggest that you keep regen on all your characters during this whole fucking fight.
Take the lead.
And again, this fight is a good reason why you want to have two ranged attackers, because you can use Cloud and melee attack his legs, but then you have to take the fucking aura damage, which is a pain in the ass to constantly keep healing. But if you have ranged attackers, you can just stay safely out of it and fuck with him from afar.
You can do it!
Hang back. It's on you.
Now, Bahamut in this battle is a fucking prick. Not only because he's the fucking Dragon King and he has size 26 claw dads attached to the bottom of his fucking legs, but also because he summons a summon of his own to fight against you in this battle as well. So you'll have to deal with that while he's doing all this horrendous shit to you.
Here goes!
So I would recommend that you have at least two familiars on Aerith while you're attacking with her. You keep a very vigilant eye on your fucking HP and make sure that your characters have at least 3/4 HP at all times. In case you aren't paying attention and that countdown reaches 0, he hits you with Mega Flare, it can drop your whole fucking party. And being at round 4 out of 5 is just gonna piss you the fuck off.
So it's my turn? Get him! Why
Now,
don't you lead the way?
like most of the other bosses in summons, Bahamut does target the player that you're attacking with at that moment. So you can do the offensive, defensive party member switch and try to get some good extra critical damage in if you want. But about the halfway point is when he summons his summon, and if I'm not mistaken, every time it is fucking Ifrit. Now, Ifrit is not very defensive, but he is there
I'll show you what I
to
can
draw
do.
your damage and attacks so that Bahamut can freely do shit like this and dive bomb on you. As you see, it's not terribly fatal,
So it's my turn?
but when you mix that with Ifrit fucking with you in the background, you got two summons dive bombing you back and forth. It can get to be a bit much.
You've got this.
And both summons do target whatever party member you're playing with at the time. So you're gonna get double teamed at least some of the time. And these summons are gonna fill your ass out like an application. Okay, so I would recommend that you at least get Ifrits a half before focusing back on Bahamut. Now, Ifrit does a good amount of offensive damage, but doesn't have much defense for your physical attacks. So that's going to be a positive as far as it's concerned. You see how his HP drains fairly quick.
I'm coming.
So getting him to half won't be that big a deal.
This one's
But
for you.
him being there at all will give Bahamut time to finish his countdown and guarantee Mega Flip.
My turn.
On the plus side, Ifrit being of low defense, when you do get Barrett's or Cloud's limit break, doing it will pretty much guarantee that Ifrit dies no matter what life goal he's at that
I'll
time.
take care of him. It's your turn.
Taking over.
Also at this point with Aerith, because you're really only going to be able to heal with her and maybe do some minor offensive attacking, I would recommend that you use Prey to heal everybody instead of your Materia to try to keep your MP up as high as you can. And don't be afraid to do what I'm doing right now, which is run like a bit of a bitch. That way shit like that doesn't happen. But again, revival earrings come
So it's my turn?
save the fucking day. And there's Mega Flare. You see, instantly just wiped out the whole fucking party, and I would have lost right there had it not been for the reprieve on my weapons and the revival earrings on my goddamn party members. Now, Ifrit is going to die, and so is Bahamut. I'm not sure. I'm thinking, which one do I want to hit with it? How do I want to do this? But I really, because the limit breaks will probably kill these summons, I need to make sure Cloud is revived before I bust them off.
I'll hang back.
Everything's spinning.
Now, fortunately, Bahamut's taken a fucking breather to start his countdown again. So that gives enough time to bring him back.
My turn.
And we're going to drop Ifrit manually and just bust these limits off and end Bahamut right fucking now.
Need a breather.
Ascension and Catastrophe at the same time.
No need to panic. Can you take over for me?
And it wasn't enough to kill him, but it was enough to drop
I'm
him.
ending's on you.
Need my help.
And this will be enough to fucking end
My
him.
turn?
And just throw a little bit of planetary protection on there just for fun.
Watch and learn.
I mean, the limit doesn't carry over anyway. The fifth and final fight in this series is against the Pride and Joy prototype. Now, this motherfucker was in the original Final Fantasy VII. He was the final boss of the special battle in the Gold Saucer Battle Arena. But his name was Proud Claude, and he wasn't called Pride and Joy prototype. He was also red. I mean, he looked pretty much the same as he does now, except way more polygonal. But he was red. And he had a different moveset. Some of the moves were the same, but there were a bunch of different ones. And that version, in my opinion, was much harder than this version. Now that being said, when you start this fight, you're gonna have 5 different targets that you can target on the Pride and Joy. Both arms, both legs, and the core. Only focus on that core until you stagger it, okay? Most of Pride and Joy's fucking offensive attacks here are moderately damaging. But they also have status effects that can attach to them, like slow and stop and putting your party members in a stupor. Actually, that's what that right there does. That electrical cannon stuns your party members while damaging. Also, the knee flares that he's got do the same thing.
I'll show you what I can do.
Now, Pride and Joy's attacks, like I said, are only moderately damaging, but this is the final battle of the series. So keep a hyper-vigilant eye on your HP and make sure that you keep your characters healed. Now, you see him grab up Cloud right there. Much like Bahamut, he can grab up your party members. When he does, though, his move is way more fucking damaging than Bahamut's could possibly ever be. Also, when he picks up your party member, you have the ability to target that arm and make him put them down. I recommend you do this as soon as he picks them up. You really don't want him hitting that party member point blank with a beam cannon because he's holding them.
One more shot.
Also, that beam cannon that he uses quite frequently, I might add, is moderately to fatally damaging. If you don't get out of the way and you take the full brunt of that beam cannon, your character probably will fucking die. Also, you notice these patches of fucking lava everywhere. Those do damage, a fairly healthy amount of damage per second that you're standing on. So I wouldn't recommend you stay on them very fucking long, if you have to at all.
Deal with that.
And you'll notice, the whole time you're fighting Pride and Joy, that center reactor is always charging up. Like, there's no way to stop that I know of. So he just keeps releasing heavily damaging beams and shit. Now, when you stagger him, this is when you want to start weakening his legs. Because if he's staggered and you get the leg down, it cripples him and staggers him again, and you can get like a chain reaction of staggering going on, so that he effectively never gets up. Now my timing's a little off here, but you can see the effect of it going on. See, that's 3 times that he's been put down on all fours. It is really beneficial to do this. Now, he also has this fall move that he does. That does almost 5,000 damage, so you're really not going to want to let him hit you with that. And if he does, try to make sure it's not very often.
Can you take over for me?
Staying behind him is a good idea. Now, like most bosses, he tends to target the party member you're playing with. The problem is, with him, he's so goddamn slow that it just takes forever for him to do his action and then switch targets. And as you can see, he does not have a whole fuck of a lot of defense going on. So if you just keep a hyper-vigilant eye on your HP with fucking Aaron, and just suicidally barrage this motherfucker's core with Cloud and Barret, you should be able to put him down fairly quickly.
Get him! Just go away!
Don't overdo it.
Now see, I made the mistake of sitting there and trying to heal while he busted Beam Cannon. You see that pretty much killed Cloud. It didn't actually kill him, but it got damn close. Now, in the last battle, I used my Revival Earrings, so they're not there anymore. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. I do heavily recommend that you put Revival Earrings on fucking everybody. Also, don't forget to assess this motherfucker like I do. That way you don't have to come the whole way back in here and fight him again just to get the battle info.
Hope you don't mind. Bring it home.
I'm coming. And this one's for you.
And you see how when he cripple a leg, he just goes down. He's pretty much worthless when he hits all fours, unless he voluntarily puts himself on all fours. But I think we should just, I think we should end this right about now.
Here it comes.
With Ascension. No other way would be fitting. And there it is. You'll get your gold ultimate weapon trophy. On top of that,
We make a decent
you'll
team.
get a fucking badass fucking accessory called the Goder Damarung, and whoever has it equipped gets to start the match with the limit break.